So let's take a look at the overall structure. Sound generation on the left, sound shaping in the middle with a filter, which serves to remove some of the overtones, partials, harmonics, sine waves, and below we have our modulation section. If we look at this synth, we have an area here where the filter's cutoff frequency is very low, but this slider is telling us that the envelope generator, the modulator, is opening and closing the filter as much as is possible. Filter cutoff starts low, opens way up, and closes way down. That's a little bit too much there, so let's modify that and just make it a little bit more tame. So we'll bring the baseline filter cutoff up and lower the amount that this guy serves to open up the filter. There's another factor that you'll find in these synthesizer filters to give them their character, and that's the resonance factor. The resonance is the feature that actually amplifies the frequencies that are occurring at any moment at the filter cutoff. And if the filter cutoff is moving, it makes it much easier to hear the movement of that cutoff as it rises and falls in response to the envelope's attack and decay times. I've minimized the effect of the cutoff, and we can lower the resonance amount to tame it down just a little bit. Okay, there's a drive parameter in these filters that amplifies the signal going into the circuit. Typically adds some distortion or some harmonics. Will warm up the sound a little bit. Now we can change the sound a little bit more directly by looking at the sound generation area, the oscillators themselves, of which we have two. The sounds that we have available are mixed together with a mix slider, and they are a sawtooth wave, very common synthesizer waveform, has a lot of energy in those partials and harmonics. Therefore, you can really sculpt that sound with the filter and remove them or shape them, give yourselves different colors. And if I bring the mix slider down, I can mix in some other wave shape. A really helpful sound that you'll find in traditional kinds of synthesizers is not really a waveform at all. It's noise. Noise is great because noise is a part of pretty much any real instrumental sound that you're liable to run across. It basically consists of sounds that aren't harmonic. They're not part of the overtone series. They have equal energy throughout the spectrum. Gotta love it. But filtered noise is an integral part of synthesizer sounds. And so has a lot of energy in those partials. The filter will shape it. So we'll just dial in the noise and mix in a little of it with the mix slider, mostly staying with the sawtooth wave. Now let's take a look at the low frequency oscillator. That's the modulator that provides vibrato and tremolo kinds of effects, things that just change rhythmically, constantly over time. Currently, this low frequency oscillator is wiggling at an eighth note rhythm, and it's set to modulate, again, the filter cutoff, the most commonly modulated parameter. However, it's not doing anything at the moment. So let's have it do something by bringing up the bottom triangle here. We looked at secondary modulation before, this range where the amount of modulation is determined by some third element, in this case via the mod wheel. We're going to bring them together so the mod wheel is not really a factor here and simply dial it in. But oh, now that's an unusual shape. All right. What happens if we speed up the rate of that effect? Now that's one of my favorite shapes. That's called sample and hold, which is another way of saying stepped random effect, where every 16th note, that filter cutoff jumps to a new value and holds there for a 16th note. What I'm going to do is just change this to a smoother triangle shape and then lower just the depth of that effect so we just get a nice little subtle, just a subtle 16th note feel to that. Let's see what it sounds like with the tune. Let's see, here we go.